Hello friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this month's Ketchup and Pickles vlog. If this is your first time catching this series style of video for me, Ketchup and Pickles is an elementary school organization system, I guess, where you typically have a ketchup column and a pickles column. The ketchup column are all the things that you need to catch up on, work that you haven't finished, tasks you need to complete, and then the pickles column is all the fun stuff that you can pick to do once the catch-up activities have been completed. I use this as we transition from 1 month into the next to kind of catch up on any obligation reads that I've fallen behind on, catch up on any TBR books that I want to do, and then prioritize books that maybe I wouldn't normally be able to fit into my regular reading. So, and some of it is book related, some of it is real life related. Typically, I do this video as we transition into the next month. However, in June, Clear Your Shit does a mini readathon, and back in November and December, I did Clear Your Shit for the first time, and I had so much fun. It's basically a storytelling style readathon where the goal is to prioritize the books that you already own, and it was great. I had the best time, and then there's just like a mini one in June. And so with that starting on Saturday, I wanted to still prioritize doing this vlog because it's really helpful for me to have this dedicated time to get certain things done. So we're doing it now. And we're going to go from today, which is May 27th, until, May 30th. And so let's talk about kind of where I am reading wise and what my catch up column looks like at the moment. But let's start with the books I'm currently in the midst of reading. I'm currently reading Dreadful. This is an arc. It doesn't come out yet. It's not out yet. I don't remember when it comes out, but I'll put the date somewhere. And I have been reading this so slow, it's not a big book. I think it's like barely 300 pages, but this is about Gav, who is a Dark Lord, but at the beginning of the book, he wakes up with no memory of having been the Dark Lord Gavrax. And it's cozy. It's got a very dry sense of humor to it. It took me a little while to get into it, but I'm having a really good time in it now, and I'm about 75% of the way through, and I would really like to finish it maybe today, definitely tomorrow. And then I'm also 70-something%, I think, of the way through The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the second book in the Inheritance game series. I'm 78%. So I would also really like to finish this, if not today, definitely by tomorrow. And then the other book that's in the catch-up column is my pick for the Betty Page's Challenge Your Shelf challenge, because of course I'm behind. Again, I was behind last month too. I need to read The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a YA horror that's a Carrie retelling, and I've wanted to read this for a long time. And I also have the audiobook because it's on Hoopla, and I'm really looking forward to finally having read this. I debated reading Carrie before I picked this up, but my husband said I didn't need to, and I know enough about Carrie that I'll be fine jumping into this. And then, let's see, do I have any tasks for the catch-up column? I think we'll do the tasks day by day instead of plotting them out. I'm not doing any tasks really today. I mean, I'm catching up on laundry because my brother got married over the weekend, and so I got behind, of course, on house stuff. So I'm taking this holiday day to catch up on all of those things so that we are prepared for the next week. So yeah, we'll talk about tasks tomorrow. The other great thing about this week is that I don't have work this week. We have a week off from classes while we kind of reset for the next month. And so I'm gonna have a lot more reading time than I typically do, which is super exciting. So anyway, so those three are the catch-up books. And now for the Pickles books, I would like to present you with my pile of shame. Which is what I've been calling this stack in my head. And what is my stack of shame? My stack of shame are 3 arcs that my bestie, who's a bookseller, let me borrow, and clearly I have not touched them because they are dusty. I have The Dead Cattail Assassin by P. Jelly Clark, which I think was supposed to come out in April and got moved to end of the summer, I think. A Sorceress Comes to Call, which is T. Keen Fisher's next book. And Bury Your Gaze, which is Chuck Tingle's next horror. I might save this for Summerween. We'll see. But anyways, she lent me these a month and a half ago, and I read the first chapter of all of them for this video, and then I haven't read any of these. So I need to circle back around, finish these, and then the rest of the pile are the books that I brought home in May, and I've been so excited to read all of these, and I need to start reading them. So I have How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wexler. The only reason I haven't started this one yet is because Dreadful also has a Dark Lord, and I didn't want to read 2 Dark Lord books at the same time. So yeah, so I've been putting this one off, but I'm really excited for it. I love Django Wexler. I love the Ashes of the Sun trilogy, and I've been so hyped for this book. And then I have The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields that my twins gave me for Mother's Day. Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Ames, which I think is supposed to be a really fun, epic fantasy. And then It Came from the Closet, Queer Reflections on Horror. This is a book of essays about different horror movies. So these are all my Pickles books, which I'm very excited about all of them. I might end up doing a spinning wheel because I don't make decisions on my own anymore. I let the spinning wheel make them for me. It's even infiltrated into our family movie nights. Because there's so many of us in my family, when it's time to pick a movie, we have a really hard time settling on one most of the time. And so we've started using the spinning wheel where everyone picks a movie. We put it on the wheel, and then whatever it picks, that's what we watch. And nobody gets to complain about it, or they don't get to suggest a movie next time. So I've truly just offloaded all decision making onto spinning wheels, and it's great, and I love it, and I highly recommend it if you also struggle with decision fatigue and want someone to just tell you what to do. We are really just trying to have a chill day as much as possible. And I did go to the gym this morning, but then my husband blew up the air mattress for me, and we set it out in the backyard, and so I did spend a good chunk of time earlier today laying out there and reading. It was delightful, and I just came in to like hydrate and cool down a little bit before I go back out and lay down. So yeah, so hopefully I will finish Dreadful today and then be able to give you a little review for that one. I am having a lot of fun with it, and I think if you like cozy fantasy, you will probably really like Dreadful. If you like T. Keen Fisher's style of writing, I think Dreadful is a good comp. It's been a really fun time. I'm not a good ebook reader like 70% of the time. It's not my favorite format, but needs must. So anyways, I will come back and I'll talk to y'all probably tomorrow when I have something to say about something that I'm reading. Okay, bye! Okay, first thing, I hated how I said that I had my brother's wedding over the weekend, and the way I said it implied that it was a major inconvenience because now I'm behind on my chores. That is not how I feel at all. It was wonderful. It was so nice. I was telling my husband, it's, you get so used to seeing your siblings as your siblings, especially like as the older sibling by a decent amount of time. I am just so used to seeing my brother and my sister as my little brother and my little sister, and it was so magical, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, to see my brother surrounded by people who have only known him as an adult, and some of whom have only known him as like his new wife's partner. And so it was really, magical to see him like fully as an adult and not just as like my little brother with all the things that come along with having known someone for their entire life. So I don't know. It was just, I don't know if I explained that right, but it was really nice and it was wonderful. And we all very much love his wife. So very excited that she is officially a part of the family, even though she has like emotionally been a part of the family for a long time. So anyways, I was watching that clip back and I was like, why did I say that way? That was not how that was intended. Anyways, going back to this, I am going to be altering my plans for today a little bit because I woke up in the middle of the night because I had a lot of congestion and it was making me really uncomfortable, and I think I'm getting a cold. So I'm going to dial back my plans a little bit today, try not to go as hard as I had initially planned because I do not want to fully get a cold, and I would like it to just stop at this almost getting a cold. So we're altering the to-do list a little bit. As far as reading goes, I did finish the Hawthorne Legacy last night and giving it 4 stars. This is such a fun series. It's really fast paced. I like that it's not a murder mystery. It's more of like a mystery, like a riddles mystery, a clue, like, that kind of mystery. And in this one, this is the second book in the series, and this series starts when, in the first book, Avery, her mother has passed away, her dad is a deadbeat dad, and her older sister, who's only 23, has had custody of her for the last few years, and Avery finds out that this Texas billionaire, who she's never met before, has left her basically his entire fortune. And the first book is the mystery of like trying to figure out why. And there's 4 boys who are the grandsons of the billionaires, who are also very prominent characters. There's like a little bit of a maybe love triangle between Avery and 2 of the brothers, the 2 middle brothers. And then in book 2, we're getting into a little bit more of the mystery of what happened to one of the billionaire's children and how Avery's mother may or may not be connected to this family. And then of course there's more with the love triangle with Avery and the two of the brothers. I will say Xander, the youngest of the brothers, is my favorite. Probably because he's like the only one not involved in any sort of relationship yet. Though there was hints of like he and another character may like have a little bit of a romance. But I think this series is so fun. It's fast paced. It's like really perfect, bingeable, escapist mystery. And I'm listening to them almost exclusively on audio, so I'm having a great time so far. And there's only a 3-week wait for the 3rd book, which is great because there was like a very long wait, like a month and a half long wait for this book. So I like that the next one is shorter. And then I did finish Dreadful this morning, and I gave Dreadful 4.25 stars. I loved how the action ramped up for this book. I loved the resolution. I even highlighted a quote that I don't like reading quotes to the camera, but there was just a line that I felt was just like the perfect distillation of the kind of humor in this book. All right, I'm not going to give you any context for this because I feel like it's better without context. He'd known he liked her for a reason, and he wanted her to stop looking at him with so much contempt. Maybe not with no contempt. That seemed like too much to hope for, but less contempt. So there you go. This was so fun. I think, how much did I tell you yesterday? Yeah, so Gav wakes up with no memory of having been the Dark Lord or the Dark Wizard. He has no memory of anything. Stuff does come back, but it's more like performing the magic comes back right as he needs it. Like the muscle memory kicks in more than he actually remembers anything. And it's just really delightful and funny, and I did reread the little blurb and it's described as a farce, and I think that's exactly it. So you have to go into it with that expectation of it is a farce, like ridiculous, over the top things are gonna happen, but it's utterly delightful. It's so funny. It was very heartfelt without tipping over into saccharine, and I loved all the characters and the way they interacted with each other. It was so good. It was so fun. And this is this author's debut, which is pretty cool, and it's out today. If you're looking for like a lighthearted, cozy fantasy, hey, check this out. Also, the goblins 100% stole the show for me. There's multiple goblins. Like the castle is staffed by goblins, and they were amazing. I liked them so much. And then I did start, you saw in the B-roll while I was at the coffee shop, I started The Dead Cattail Assassins by P. Djeli Clark. I decided to start with this one because it's so short. It's barely 200 pages. And I'm kind of hoping I can finish this maybe by tomorrow. Not in one day, because I know my reading pace slows down a little bit with P. Djeli Clark. Not because his writing is complicated or anything, but it's like I need to take longer to digest what he's saying versus other books where I can kind of speed through. I don't know if that's his writing style or if it's my processing. I don't know. I don't know who's to blame, but it's just how it is. I love his short fiction, and I'm really excited about this one. So I read about 12 pages at the coffee shop. My only complaint about P. Djeli Clark is his chapters are really, really long. But I'll give you more of an update of this one when I'm into it. And then as I was at Walmart picking up gardening stuff, I did start the audiobook for The Weight of Blood, and I am very into it so far. It's a little bit of mixed media. There's a podcast component talking about the prom night event, and then it goes back and forth between that and then Maddie, who is the main character, and let me see, I'm just trying to find where I left off in the audiobook. Okay, so I made it to page 26, just in that little bit. I feel like this audiobook, it's 10 hours, but I feel like it's going to go really fast. If you're not familiar with this is a Carrie retelling, and our main character, Maddie Washington, it opens when she's at gym, and they're supposed to be running on the track, and Maddie's not very popular. She's pretty mousy. She's very, like, you know, not a popular kid. And it starts to rain while she's outside running track for PE, and she gets drenched, and when her hair gets wet, it curls up into an afro, and everyone realizes that Maddie has been passing as white for a very long time. I'm buckled up for the racism in this book. I know it's not going to be a fun time. I really like the writing so far. This is my first Tiffany D. Jackson. I also think the audiobook is really well done so far, just between like the podcast element, and then we've gotten a little bit from Maddie's perspective, and then we're also getting a teacher's perspective, like the teacher in the classroom. The supernatural elements have already kicked in, and I think this will be a really fast-paced read, and maybe not a fun time, but we'll see. I have high hopes. All right, so these two are the reading plans for the day. I think I'm going to put on my headphones and keep listening to The Weight of Blood. I have to do some gardening things. I'm not a gardener though. I famously kill anything I try to keep alive. Why is my camera trying to focus on? There we go. The lamp is not a face. I famously kill plants, that I am very optimistic that eventually I will keep something alive. So I've been propagating a cutting from my pothos plant that I have kept alive for like 2 years now. So that's my one success. And I'm going to put it in with my bigger pot so that that plant can be fuller. And then I got some flowers at Walmart, and I'm going to put those in pots outside. And then, I don't know, it's not too hot today. It feels like that would not be too physically taxing of an activity. And then I do have like my laundry to fold and put away. So I think those are the tasks for today. So we have one ketchup, one pickles. And then the pothos is kind of my ketchup activity because it's been sitting in the jar with water for a while and I really need to get it to soil. And then I guess the pickles is going to be watching YouTube. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get that plant situation figured out and then I'm going to watch YouTube. And this clip is already 12 and a half minutes long. Yikes. Okay, coming down with this cold is really throwing off my glorious plans for this week off of work. But I've been taking it easy. I did Pomodoro productivity sprints. Like there's a video on YouTube. I'll try to remember to link it down below. But it basically does 50-minute productivity, 10-minute break. And I did 2 rounds of it, I think. And the first round I focused on Dead Cattail's Assassin, and the second round I focused on The Weight of Blood. And outside of that, I potted some things, which you saw. Fingers crossed I keep them alive. And I did fold and put away my laundry, and I fed myself. And I had tea. I'm prioritizing rest. I hate it, but I'm doing it. I have to go pick up E from school here shortly, so I thought we'd do a little reading update of where I am to end off this day, and then I probably won't vlog the rest of today because then the kids will be home, and then I'll just pick up again tomorrow. But I did get, how far? 62 pages into Dead Cattail's Assassin, and gosh, this back does not give you very much to go on. So our main character is Evine the, Eviscerator, and she is a dead cattail assassin, and she is dead. And there's 3 rules for those who are sworn to the matron of assassins. First, they're all dead. They've all been resurrected. Memories of their past lives have been wiped, and then they have sworn fealty to this matron, this goddess maybe? I can't remember. So the 3 rules are the contract must be just, so like they don't kill children, or they don't go after anybody vulnerable or where it's unfair. Second, assassins cannot take out anybody who they are not contracted to take out. And so like even if you have to battle your way through all these guards to get to your contract, you can't harm. Well, you can harm, but you can't kill those guards. And then the third is that once you accept a job, you must carry it out. And Evine is like a super professional. Except, of course, for this job that she is contracted to do at the beginning of the book, she arrives at this tower to take out the contract and has a memory, basically, and that's supposed to be impossible. Like, dead cattail assassins are not supposed to remember anything ever. Like, that's the whole deal. And so that sets things in motion. And this is so funny. Maybe it's just because I came off of reading Dreadful, but P. Djeli Clark, the way, especially Evine and Fennis is like her person, like her work person that she touches base with. I don't know what that's like, not the boss, but like her contact, I guess. Like he's the one who gives her the job that she's supposed to go do. Like the way they banter back and forth with each other is so ludicrous at times, where there's been a couple times where they're going back and forth. I'm like, don't you all have more important things to worry about in this moment? And they do, but it's still really funny. And I really like the sense of humor. And I'm always really blown away by Clark's world building. And this one is so different than like his Cairo world building. And it's really interesting. And I'm really digging it so far. And I'm hoping to make more progress tonight. Because this will probably also be my bedtime book, just because I don't have an audiobook for it, since it's not out yet. And then The Weight of Blood, y'all. I am 138 pages into The Weight of Blood. It is so fast-paced, and I am hooked. and I am obsessed, and it's so hard to turn the audiobook off. The audiobook quality is so good. The podcast element is so good. So even though there are times where it's really hard to listen to because the white people are white peopling and it's really frustrating. So those parts are hard to listen to. And even though like she sets it up where you know like the outcome of what has happened, but I just like I just need to know everything that happens between where we are now and what the podcast says is going to be the reality by the end of everything. I just have to know. So I have to keep listening. And it's so good. So I'm having a great time. I mean, I'm sometimes having a great time. I'm having an immersive time. All right, so that's it for your update. Please cross all your fingers and toes that this cold is gone when I wake up tomorrow, or that at least doesn't get any worse. That would be ideal too, because I don't want to waste my whole week off by not feeling good. That would be such a bummer. No real update today because, well, no B-roll today because I just rested all day so that this cold continues to go away. Because so far it's just congestion. And if that could be the worst it is, and tomorrow I wake up feeling better, that'd be awesome. So I just rested today. I did go grocery shopping, but that was it. But I did finish The Weight of Blood because I was resting and I was obsessed with the audiobook and I liked this so much. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. This was so good and absolutely riveting. I struggled to put it down at all today, clearly. And I love the mixed media element, like between the podcast and the interview segments and like eyewitness accounts, and I just think it made for such a fast-paced, compelling read, and it was so interesting. The ending is super ambiguous, which I kind of love. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but I do love an ambiguous ending. This is great. I had such a good time. And it wasn't too scary, and even though there is a lot of like gore, it's not on the page very much. Did I say gore? Weird. I feel like I said it weird. But it's not super graphic on the page, so if you have like a squeamish stomach, you know, you check it out. And I don't know that this, I think I was calling it horror, but I feel like maybe this is more of a thriller, maybe, than a horror. But to be honest, I don't really know the difference between a thriller and a mystery and a horror. I mean, I think I do, but I don't know if I actually do. Maybe I don't. Who knows? I don't know. But if I was gonna, I don't know what I would classify this as. It's good. That's what I classify it as. Is good. And I didn't read a dang part of the Dead Cattail Assassins today because I was consumed with this. But now I get to start another book because I don't have an audiobook anymore. And that's not gonna work for me. So we need to pick from my stack of shame. And I think what I'm gonna do is lay them all out on the floor. We'll number them 1 through 6. And then I'm gonna go get dice or pull up a dice generator on my phone. And we're gonna roll, and then whatever one we get, that's the one that I'll read. Okay, so here we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we're gonna roll. All right, now we're gonna roll the dice and see what we get. 1. That's not helpful. I need an audiobook. Okay, maybe we'll just take those 2 off. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I saw one that was okay. Wait. How do I do this? Why is this hard? Okay, we'll do this one instead. 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't think that through. 6. That's not helpful. Why don't I know how to do this? Let's try this again. 1, 2, maybe. Let's see what we got. 2. How to become the Dark Lord and die trying. Cool. We're going to call that a done because apparently I don't know how to do dice rolling on the internet. Awesome. I don't have this on audio, but I'm definitely going to go use a Libro FM credit to download it. Still doing the Pomodoro sprints. I wish that wasn't so effective. I mean, I love that it's effective, but I also kind of wish like it wasn't so effective. But I finished The Dead Cattail Assassins. I'm sadly giving this a 3.75. The second half wasn't as fun for me as the first half was. So this is so hard because it's so short. It's barely over 200 pages. So there is the mystery that Evine is trying to solve with this girl that she's supposed to ship, is what she calls it in this book instead of kill. And I really liked the first half. I think I said the banter was really funny. The world building was great. Like I almost would have wanted it to be longer because there's so much world, and it would have been, I don't know, it would have been nice to get more in depth with the world building. And then also, I feel like it needed to be longer just to flesh out everything that was going on, because what ended up happening in the second half of the book is there was just a lot of talking because so many things needed to be explained, and all the talking is where the book lost me a little bit. There's also two characters who appear right at the end who are speaking in a dialect, and the way it was phonetically written out made it really hard for me to follow. And I think it's one of those things where in an audiobook it would probably be fine because it's just gonna flow, but trying to decode what was written out to reflect the dialect or the accent made it more confusing and really hard to follow what was being revealed at the end and how the mystery was being resolved. So I think that also brought it down a little bit for me. It was kind of the same complaint as back in March when I read the latest Myrtle Hardcastle book for middle grade March, and that book takes place in Scotland, and the author for that book wrote out the Scottish dialect phonetically, and it took a lot of decoding work while I was reading to understand what was being said. But when I listened to it on audio, like hearing it spoken and just hearing the accent was fine, but trying to decode it visually was really challenging, and I would have the same critique for this. Trying to decode the accent was, like, while I was reading was really challenging, but I think listening to it would probably be fine. So those are my thoughts. Not my favorite P. Jelly Clark. I think that still goes to either Ring Shao or The Dead Jin in Cairo. I don't know. I really love those two, and I didn't love this one as much as I had hoped I would, but his world building is always just excellent, and I think that's probably like the most frustrating thing about P. Jelly Clark writing short form fiction is that his world building is so expansive and so cool, and I usually feel like the novella is not long enough to get into all the world building because it's super cool. So then you saw I did start How to Become the Dark Lord, and I try and talk about a book that just drops you in and is like, good luck, my friend. See you on the other side. We're backtracking a little bit now, but that prologue, man, whew, there is a content warning at the beginning of this book, which I don't think I've seen in any of Wexler's other books. This one is a little bit dark. I don't know. It's funnier than Ashes of the Sun, but it's also a lot darker. So we get dropped off in with our main character, Davi, who is in this dungeon and has been in there for a number of weeks and has been tortured, and like, it's brutal. And she has a very like sarcastic, dark humor, and so you get some description of like what's happened to her while she's been in this. There are footnotes, which I love a footnote, and it does start with life number 237, and then you get what's going on in the dungeon, and then she dies at the end of the prologue. And then the last line of the prologue is life number 238. Well, now, the voice is frustratingly familiar. That won't do it all. And so I'm partway through chapter 1, and so the sense that I'm getting is Davi is originally from Earth and somehow has ended up in this like D&D world that is ruled by a Dark Lord. And there is a prophecy in this world that Davi is preordained. She is the chosen one. She is the person that will defeat this Dark Lord, and she is stuck in a time loop until she accomplishes that. And I think from the back, So she's obviously been defeated by the Dark Lord 237 times. And on this one, she is like, fuck it. If you can't beat them, join them. And she decides to become the Dark Lord instead of trying to defeat the Dark Lord. So, yeah, I don't know. I will say the humor caught me off guard. Because I wasn't expecting it going into this. Like, I expected it to be funny, but I didn't expect the tone to be so dark and so funny at the same time. So just like, you know, read the content warning if you're going to pick this up. It says that there's no like assault on page, but there is, you know, talk of self-harm, there is talk of suicide, and there are frank discussions of sexual assault, even though nobody is assaulted on page. So just know that going in. I'll keep you posted on how this goes. I definitely need a moment to acclimate because the tone and voice from this to this, that was a hard right turn that I was not ready for. But I think it'll be fun. It's actually reminding me, also wildly different books, but tone-wise, this is reminding me a little bit of Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. I think they'll be very different books, but it's that same kind of graphic, gory, sarcastic humor. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That has been working for me a lot this year, so maybe this will be a 5-star. We will find out. I'm 60 pages into How to Become a Dark Lord, and I can tell you right now, this book is not going to be for everybody, but if you're the reader for this book, you will probably have a really good time while reading it. Yeah, it's like everything I said before. I'm having a great time now that I've acclimated to the tone and the voice, and it's really fun. And I love how campy Django Wexler's books can get. And yeah, I'm having a good time. I still feel not great. Better than yesterday, but really the congestion is making me feel so fuzzy brained and stupid, but I have a little bit more energy. I'm going to get on the bike, the stationary bike, for like a YouTube video. I'm just gonna watch a YouTube video. I'm going to do a really gentle pedal because I don't want to push myself super hard. I don't want to burn through the energy that I have, but I do need to move my body a little bit because I'm feeling pretty restless. So I'm going to do that. I'm debating going to my indie bookstore today because I think they have a copy of Dreadful and I want my husband to read it, and he doesn't do the library, so the only way he reads books is if I bring them into the house, or of course if he brings them into the house. So I'm debating going and getting a copy of Dreadful and then also getting the latest volume of Lore Olympus because I kind of forgot that was coming out. I know they got in a copy of Dreadful. I don't know if they got in a... I know they had Lore Olympus a few weeks ago. It might have sold since then, so I should probably check their website and check their inventory before I go and do that. But it's also our farmer's market is today, and normally on Thursdays I don't have a chance to go to our farmer's market because I work in the afternoons and it's just too hard to get in over there in between working and grocery shopping because Thursday is also grocery shopping day. But I'm not working today, so I kind of want to do something that I normally don't have the time to do. So we'll see, but I'm going to go work out first. A gentle workout, watch YouTube because I have a backlog of videos that I want to watch. And then we'll see. Then I'll eat lunch and then we'll see. Friends, happy Friday. Oh, I finally feel better today. It's amazing. I went to the gym and I did my normal routine, but I didn't lift as heavy as I normally did because I didn't want to, undo any of the progress I've made in feeling better. But it feels so nice to have energy again. I just finished filming my May wrap up, so that will be up probably before this video. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this one now because I'm not gonna finish the 2 books that I'm currently reading by the end of today. I mean, maybe I could if I really pushed, but I'm not looking at doing that. So So let's do a little update for where I am right now, and I think you'll sadly just have to wait until my June wrap up to hear more about these books. But I did start reading It Came from the Closet last night. I picked it up, I think, while I was waiting for the kids to get ready for bed with the intention of just reading one essay, and I proceeded to read like 4 of them. They're very cool. I am not a horror movie watcher. I just, it's too much for me. I get scared really easily when it's a visual medium, so horror movies don't work for me, but I am fascinated by the horror movie genre and by criticisms of it and critiques of it. Critical critiques, is that what the word I'm looking for? Like, I think it's a really cool genre of movie, and I wish I could watch them because I think I would really like them, but I just can't do a visual component like that. So I'm finding these essays about different horror movies really interesting, and some of them, obviously, like The Exorcist, is so a part of our cultural zeitgeist that I have enough context to keep up with the essay. But then there are other essays about like the movie Hereditary, which I had never heard of before. So a lot of what is going on, I don't have enough context with that movie to fully get it, but it's not really, like, it's about the horror movies, but it's also about all these different authors and their experiences with being queer or coming out and how it relates back to that, the themes and the actions in that specific movie. So I think I'm gonna really love this book if these first 4 essays are anything to go by. And then I am just about 50% of the way through How to Become the Dark Lord, and I tried, and I'm still really, really enjoying it. It's definitely fallen into more of like a questy feel, but I just love Davi and how she is unapologetically bisexual. Like, she just wants to bang everybody all the time, but like in a consensual way. She's just so fun, and I love watching her like trying to be like the Dark Lord that she knows she can be. It does settle down with the lives restarting. She has to restart this a bunch of times in the beginning. I think Wexler's really smart not letting that part go on too long, like long enough that you get the idea of how much she's stuck in this time loop, but not so much that it gets boring. And now we're just watching her like build her horde of orcs and other creatures to go to the convocation to appeal to become the new Dark Lord. And it's a great, fun, goofy, questy time. Like I said earlier, I don't know who exactly this is for, and it is definitely not for everybody, but if it is the book for you, you're gonna have a really good time. So with that, we're gonna end out this Ketchup and Pickles vlog. I feel like because I got that stupid cold, I didn't do as much catch up of real life activities or necessarily pickles activities in my life as I would have liked to, but I think as far as books are concerned, this was a very successful week. I got so much reading done, and I feel like I'm really well set up for June and for starting Clear Your Shit tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. So I'm gonna let you all go so I can go figure out my TBR for Clear Your Shit, and I would love to talk to you in the comments about what I read this week, or if you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you were here. Let's do a rainbow emoji, and like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will talk to you all in the next one. Bye!